If you've been applying for a tech job for months and hearing nothing back, or worse, making it to the final round and still getting rejected, this video is for you. Not the generic update your resume and network more advice that you've heard already 1,000 times, the actual reasons you're not getting hired and exactly what to fix. I'm Chase, a software engineer at Meta, and I've been on both sides of this process. I've gone through the job search myself, and I've interviewed candidates as a Meta engineer. I know what the rejection looks like from both sides of the table. In this video, I'm going to walk you through the most common reasons people can't find a tech job right now, and the specific fixes for each one. If you're stuck, something on this list is why. Stay until the end because the last point is the one most people never figure out on their own. So before the fixes, you need to understand what the current environment looks like. Entry-level tech hiring has dropped sharply after 2022, and it still hasn't fully recovered, and this is structural, not cyclical. 45,000 plus tech jobs were cut globally in just the first few months of 2026. There's been laid off senior engineers with 5, 10, or even 15 years of experience, and they're competing for the same entry-level and mid-level roles as new grads. AI coding tools means that companies can do more with fewer engineers, and they're hiring less and expecting more from each person that they do hire. This doesn't mean that you can't get hired, it just means that the bar is higher than it was 2 years ago, and the strategies that worked in 2021 don't work the same way in 2026. What got people hired then was volume. Send enough applications and something sticks. What gets people hired now is precision. So reason number one you're not getting hired is because your resume is getting filtered before a human sees it. This is the most common and most fixable problem. There's the ATS system where most large companies use ATS or applicant tracking systems to filter resumes before a human ever sees them. ATS systems scan for keywords that match the job posting. So if your resume doesn't have them, you're out even before the game starts. So a resume that looks great to a human can be entirely invisible to an ATS. So what's killing your resume? Things like using a fancy template with columns, tables, graphics, or text boxes. ATS systems can't parse these correctly. Another thing is when you're missing keywords from the job posting. If they say REST APIs and your resume says web services, you may not match. Another thing is when people bury their most relevant experience below the fold. The first third of your resume is mostly what gets read. And also having 2 pages of your resume when you only have under 5 years of experience, really you only need to keep your resume to 1 page. So the fix here is quite simple. You want to use a clean single column format with no graphics or tables. For every single role that you apply to, actually read the job posting and make sure that your resume uses the same language that they use. You also want to lead with your most impressive and relevant expertise first, not a generic objective statement. You also want to prioritize things like achievements over responsibilities. Saying something like reduced API response time by 40% is way stronger than saying responsible for back-end development every single time. So reason number 2 is that you're applying in the wrong places. Most people are fishing in the most crowded pond. The LinkedIn problem is that a popular role on LinkedIn gets 200 to 500 applications, oftentimes even more than that, within 24 hours. So by the time you apply 3 days after the posting, your application number 400 and you're competing against people who applied in the first hour. And early applications do get dramatically more attention. A role with 10 applicants versus 400 is a completely different game. So where most people aren't actually looking are places like WellFound, which was formerly AngelList. This has startups and mid-sized companies with far lower application volumes. Built-in is another job board that has regional tech company job boards by city, and it's much less saturated than LinkedIn. You can also look at ycombinator.com/jobs. This website has YC-backed companies that are actively hiring, and it's updated constantly, and you can apply to the companies directly. There's also company careers pages where you apply directly before a role hits aggregators, and that significantly puts you ahead of the crowd. And there's also usajobs.gov. This is a website for government and defense tech roles with almost zero competition. Okay, so now let's talk about the mid-sized company play. There's companies with 100 to 1,000 employees that get 20 to 50 applicants per role instead of 500 plus. They still pay 120K to 180K for engineers, and for these type of roles, you want to target non-tech companies. So companies like banks, healthcare companies, or manufacturing companies, these have strong engineering teams and a fraction of the applicants because most engineers just write them off. So the simple fix here is to set daily job alerts on platforms like WellFound and Built-in, not just LinkedIn. You also want to apply within 24 hours of a role going live whenever possible, and you also want to add 5 to 10 mid-sized and non-tech companies to your target list alongside your dream companies. Now, reason number 3 is you don't have a referral. This is the single biggest lever that most job seekers never pull. In fact, 70 to 80% of jobs are filled through referrals before they even hit a public job board. So a referral basically bypasses the ATS filter entirely and dramatically increases your odds of getting an interview. And most people never ask for one because it feels awkward. And that's exactly why it gives you an edge. So how do you get a referral without knowing anyone? You want to search LinkedIn for engineers at your target company. It's a good idea to filter by your college alumni first. And people overcomplicate this, but really you just have to send a short direct message. Something like, hey, I'm preparing to apply to this company for a role. I'd love to hear more about your experience there if you have 15 minutes. Most people will respond and many will offer to refer you or at least give you some kind of intel that's going to sharpen your application. You can also leverage tech meetups, hackathons, and company-hosted events because these are the fastest way to build these relationships in person instead of only relying on reaching out online. So the mindset shift you want to have is to keep in mind that one referral is going to beat 100 cold applications. So spending 1 hour reaching out to 10 people at your target company is actually a better use of time than spending 1 hour submitting 10 more applications into the void. And by the way, if you want the exact resume template I used to get hired at Meta, click the first link in the description and I'll send it to you for free. But for now, let's get back to the video. So reason number 4 is that your interview prep isn't targeted enough. So grinding leak code randomly is not the same thing as being prepared. The problem with generic prep is that you're going to be doing 200 random leak code problems without any kind of strategy, and that's just inefficient because different companies are going to test different things. Meta typically expects 2 mediums in 45 minutes, Google might lean more hard on algorithms, and startups often do take-home projects. So if you're just preparing for tech interviews in general, that really means you're under-preparing for the specific company that you're actually interviewing at. So what does targeted prep look like? It looks like when you research exactly how the company formats their interview, so the number of rounds, the question types, and the time limits. You also want to use resources like Glassdoor and LeetCode's company tags to find the actual questions that companies might ask you. And also you want to practice timed sessions, not just solving the problems, but solving them at the speed that the interview actually requires. And finally, you do want to do mock interviews out loud because explaining your thinking while you code is a completely different skill than just solving the problem silently. For new grads specifically, you do want to focus entirely on data structures and algorithms, so arrays, strings, trees, graphs, dynamic programming, and hash maps. System design is typically not asked at the new grad level, so you wouldn't want to spend too much time on it unless you're at 2 to 3 years of experience or more. And also, cracking the coding interview or CTCI is still one of the best foundations before you go deep into LeetCode. So the fix here is to pick your top 5 target companies and research their specific interview format. You want to dedicate 80% of your prep time to the patterns that those companies are actually going to test you on. Simulate real interview conditions when you do this. You want to have a timer, talk through your approach, and focus on targeting a clean, optimal solution. Now, reason number 5 is that your portfolio isn't doing enough work. Most portfolios are honestly forgettable. What a weak portfolio looks like is when you have a to-do app that's built from a tutorial, a weather app that calls a public API, a list of 5 different projects that actually all look the same and solve no real problem, or a GitHub with no commits in the last 6 months. What a strong portfolio looks like is when you have 1 or 2 projects that solve a real problem that you actually had, and when you have something deployed. So like a live URL is infinitely more impressive than a GitHub repo, and also a project that uses current technology, something with an LLM integration, a real data pipeline, or a meaningful API. And most importantly, you want to have clean documentation, so what it does, why you built it, and what you do differently. The quality over quantity rule here is that one genuinely impressive project is going to beat 10 generic ones every single time. Recruiters spend seconds on your resume, so the goal is to have something memorable. If you can't explain why you built it in 1 sentence, it's just not compelling enough. And the fix here is to build one thing you'd actually use that solves a real problem, deploy it and get a live URL, and then document it like you're explaining it to a hiring manager in an interview. Now, reason number 6 is that you're targeting the wrong level or role. This one is subtle, but it does matter. There's often a mismatch problem that I see where new grads are applying to senior roles. You're not going to get them and it's going to dilute your application volume. Also, experienced engineers applying to entry-level roles out of desperation, you can't even get screened out for just being too overqualified. Generalists applying to specialized roles with no signal that they have the required depth is another one. So the role targeting mistake here is that most people apply to what they want rather than what they're positioned to get right now. Your first goal is to get in the door, not to land your dream job on the first try. So a mid-level role at a mid-sized company will still get you experience to level up to your target company in 1 to 2 years. In the current tech job market, generalist engineers are competing the hardest, but engineers who have a genuine specialization in AI or ML, cybersecurity, cloud, or DevOps are in a completely different category. If your resume looks identical to thousands of other candidates, you do need some kind of differentiator. So the fix here is to apply to roles that match your actual experience level, not your aspirational one. You want to identify at least one specialization to develop and make it visible on your resume and in your projects. You want to treat your first role as a foundation for your second role. So optimize for getting in, not necessarily for the perfect landing spot. So what's your action plan? What should you do this week? You want to stop applying randomly and start executing a system. Today, you want to audit your resume against the ATS checklist. Look for a single column, keywords from job postings, and have achievements, not responsibilities, and make sure it's one page. You also want to set up job alerts on websites like Well Found and Built-in addition to just using LinkedIn. This week, you want to identify 10 target companies, a mix of mid-sized tech, non-tech companies with engineering teams, and your dream companies. You want to reach out to 5 people at those companies on LinkedIn for referrals or informational conversations. And you want to apply to any roles that went live in the last 24 hours at your target companies. The difference between people who find tech jobs and people who don't isn't talent, it's precision. So stop doing what everyone else is doing and start doing what actually works. So if you've been struggling to find a tech job, something on that list is why. And now you have the specific fix for each one. The market is harder than it was 2 years ago, but the opportunities are absolutely still there for the people who approach it the right way. So if you want to take the next step, click the first link in the description and grab the exact resume template I used to get hired at Meta. It's completely free, and it's built to get past ATS and into human hands. And if you're not ready for that yet, I highly recommend watching the video on screen next, where I break down how to find tech jobs with low competition, because fixing your approach is step one, but knowing exactly where to apply is what turns that into offers. Thanks for watching, make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.